So far, we've discussed the main benefits to using fibre and the key elements to which make up fibre optic cable. In Module 2, we discussed the different types of fibre, single mode and multi-mode, and put things into perspective regarding the size of the glass. In this module, we'll explore the different types of connectors available for use with fibre and when to use which. If you search the internet for fibre optic connectors, you'll quickly become cross-eyed and frankly overwhelmed at the vast selection of different types, colours, forms and functions that are available on the market. From MTPs to MPOs, SCs to STs, LCs to FCs and SMAs to D4s, there are literally dozens of types of different applications, industries and specification needs. A bit like learning a new language or changing careers later in life, it can all be rather intimidating to the fibre newbie. Luckily, the AV industry only really uses two types of fibre connectors, the LC or lucent connector and the SC snap-in connector. The exception to this would be in the Pro AV or live entertainment industry, where we see more use of the ST connector, which is kind of a fibre equivalent to the familiar BNC style connector. To simplify things even more, the decision of type is made for us by the manufacturer of the hardware into which the fibre is being plugged. The only thing you really need to know is whether or not you're connecting to single mode fibre or multi-mode fibre. Once you know what hardware you're plugging into, you'll immediately be able to identify whether you're using an SC or an LC connector. As we just mentioned, the only other decision to be made is whether it's to be a single mode connector or a multi-mode connector, which is generally determined by the type of fibre being used, which, as we discussed in Module 2, is generally dictated by distance. Single mode connectors are typically blue in colour, and multi-mode connectors are either grey or aqua. In AV over IP applications, we typically see LC connectors being used in conjunction with SFPs or small format pluggable adapters that plug into the fibre ports of the IP switch as well as the encoders and decoders. Depending on the manufacturer and the type of SFP, there are generally two LC connectors terminated into what's called a duplex fibre. There is one last connector we should discuss. When a service provider brings fibre into the building, they will bring it in one of two places. If they bring it into the building, they will likely terminate the fibre into what's called an ONT or optical network terminal. This is the device that breaks out the various services provided by the ISP, such as video, telephone and Ethernet. If they simply run the fibre to the premise, they will bring the fibre into a basic termination point, such as an outdoor rated box. From there, it's necessary to provide the ONT and therefore need to use the correct connector for the purpose. ISPs use a connector called an angled physical contact connector, specifically designed for long-distance transmission. These connectors have an 8-degree angle at the end face that helps decrease signal loss. APC connectors are coloured green, and though they terminate the same as regular single-mode connectors, they're not compatible.